Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is from the CBN. I am William Isidada. The value of the global seed market was estimated at $60 billion in 2018, and it is expected to be worth about $87 billion by 2026. That's in 5 years' time. Timely availability of quality seed in adequate quantity and at affordable prices decide the health and the strength of an agricultural economy. This underscores the importance of a vibrant seed industry in the agricultural value chain and, by extension, the overall success of the federal government's economic diversification drive in Nigeria. We'll talk more about the seed sector today on the program as we bring to you a report of the lecture delivered by the CBN governor at the Federal University of Agriculture, Makadi. Deepening the talk on seed in our interview segment and feeling the pulse of the people regarding financial prosperity through agribusiness on the Vox Pop segment. But first, let's bring you the top stories from the Central Bank of Nigeria this week. The Central Bank of Nigeria Wednesday asked the then chairman, First Bank of Nigeria Limited, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, to explain why disciplinary action should not be taken against the bank's board of directors for hastily removing the MD CEO and failing to give prior notice to the CBN before announcing the management change in the media. The director, CBN Banking Supervision Department, Mr. Haruna Mustafa, issued the query on April the 28th after media reports that the board of directors at First Bank had approved the removal of the current MD of the bank, Dr. Shola Adedunton, and appointed a successor to replace him. The CBN noted with concern that the action was taken without due consultation with the regulatory authorities, especially given the systemic importance of First Bank Limited and given that the tenure of Dr. Adedunton is yet to expire, and the CBN was not made aware of any report of wrongdoing or misconduct by the MD to justify the precipitate removal. It added that the removal of a sitting MD CEO of a systemically important bank that has been under regulatory forbearance for 5 to 6 years without prior consultation and justifiable basis has dire implications for the bank and also portends significant risks to the stability of the financial system. Meanwhile, the CBN had earlier on Monday, April the 26th, expressed concern over First Bank's non-compliance with regulatory directives to divest its interest in Honeywell flour mills despite several reminders. In a letter to the then chairman, First Bank of Nigeria Limited, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, responding to their audited International Financial Reporting Standards accounts for the financial year ended 2020, the director, CBN Banking Supervision Department, Mr. Haruna Mustafa, noted that after 4 years, the bank did not perfect its lien on the shares of Mr. Oba Otudeko in FBN Holdco, which collateralized the restructured credit facilities for Honeywell flour mills, contrary to the conditions precedent for the restructuring of the company's credit facility. Consequently, the CBN invalidated the restructuring and required that the company fully repay its obligations to the bank within 48 hours or face sanctions against both the insider borrower and the bank. The CBN also noted the untenable delay in resolving the long outstanding divestment from Bharti Airtel Nigeria Limited in line with the extant regulations of the Apex Bank. The Apex Bank therefore directed that First Bank divest the equity investment in all non-permissible entities such as Honeywell flour mills and Bharti Airtel Nigeria Limited within 90 days and forward evidence of compliance. And on Thursday, April the 29th, CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele announced the reinstatement of Mr. Shola Adedunton as the MD CEO of First Bank of Nigeria Limited and the immediate removal of all members of the boards of both First Bank Holding and First Bank of Nigeria Limited. Making the announcement during a press briefing at the CBN headquarters in Abuja, Mr. Emefiele cited bad credit decisions, significant and non-performing insider loans, and poor corporate governance practices as the reasons behind First Bank's problems, as well as failure of the shareholders of the bank and FBN Holding PLC to recapitalize the bank to minimum requirements.
Following further review of the situation and in order to preserve the stability of the bank so as to protect minority shareholders and depositors, the management of the Central Bank of Nigeria, in line with its powers conferred on it by the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020, has approved and hereby direct as follows. 1. Immediate removal of all the directors of First Bank of Nigeria Limited and First Bank of Nigeria Holdings PLC. 2. The appointment of the following persons as directors in First Bank of Nigeria Limited and First Bank of Nigeria Holdings PLC. For the Holdco, 1. Chairman will be Remi Babalola. 2. Dr. Fatade Abiodun Oluwole. 3. Kufo Doshekun. 4. Remi Lasaki. 5. Dr. Alimi Abdulrazak. 6. Alhaji Ahmed Mudibu. 7. Alhaji Khalifa Imam. 8. Mr. Peter Aliogu. 9. Uke Eke, Managing Director. For the bank, we will now have from today Chairman as Tunde Hassan Udukale. 2. Tokumbo Martins. 3. Uche Nwokedi. 4. Adekunle Shonola. 5. Isioma Ogodazi. 6. Ebenezer Olufowoshi. 7. Shaya Elijah Dodo. 8. Dr. Shola Adedunton, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer. 9. Benga Shobo, Deputy Managing Director. 10. Remi Oni, Executive Director, we understand, had just been appointed Chairman of PENCOM and has proceeded on terminal retirement or terminal leave. So we will expect that this board will fill this vacancy shortly. 11. Abdullahi Ibrahim, Executive Director. The CBN hereby reassures the depositors, creditors, and other stakeholders of the bank of its commitment to ensure the stability of the financial system.
Up until a few years ago, Nigeria produced far less than it consumed, spending up to $22 billion annually on importation. Then came the import policy by the federal government. Now, to survive, the nation must learn to be self-sufficient. And so far, we are on the verge of achieving this through the intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria and other stakeholders in support of local farmers and efforts of value chain entrepreneurs. Now, the goal of creating 10 million jobs in 5 years through 10 commodities is gradually being actualized. Let's buy Nigerian to grow Nigeria.
The CBN believes that there is ample opportunities for the youth in Nigeria to be gainfully employed and even create wealth through the agricultural value chain. And as the demand for food keeps rising, Governor of the CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has challenged the university community to come up with agricultural breakthroughs, such as improved seeds with more yields per hectare. The challenge was contained in the lecture delivered at the 23rd to 25th Joint Convocation Ceremony of the Federal University of Agriculture, Makadi, last Friday. We have more in this report.
It wasn't just a lecture, it was an eye-opener for the designing graduating students of the Federal University of Agriculture, Makodi, to the immense opportunities in agricultural sector in Nigeria that they can take advantage of.
I'm sure you agree with me that typically the 10-15 years ago, the average Nigerian farmer, when you see him, is between the age of 55, to 70. But we see a lot of youths, going into agriculture, accessing the various schemes that we have. With a bit of innovation and creativity, they've been doing very, very well. So I encourage our youth, especially those who are graduating, to key into the various agricultural interventions that the Central Bank of Nigeria has on offer. I keep telling people, agriculture is the new oil. So, for the students graduating from University of Agriculture, Makurdi, you will be unleashed into this sector to be able to drive it much better.
Sharing his experience on jump-starting agricultural revolution in line with the lecture title, CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele, represented by the Director of Development Finance, Mr. Yela Yusuf, said the Apex Bank will readily provide a commercial outlook to research breakthroughs on improved seeds that would enhance yield per hectare through its Anchor Borers program.
Although our economy has made significant progress in the production of staple food items, we still face significant challenges. Some of these challenges include low yields per hectare, farmer-header clashes, logistics bottlenecks, adjustment of petroleum prices, which increases transportation, weather-related factors. All these have contributed to limit supply. So the Central Bank of Nigeria is ready to work with the University of Agriculture, Makurdi, to look at how we can improve productivity through R&D, especially in the area of high-yield seeds, so that our farmers can have high productivity. The seed industry is a multi-billion-dollar investment, and this offers a low-hanging fruit in a potential collaborative effort between the Central Bank of Nigeria and the university community.
The CBN governor was conferred with an honorary doctorate degree in agripreneurship by the university for his leadership role at the bank, which had continued to work to diversify the Nigerian economy and support smallholder farmers.
Big hopes for the youth. Like I said, Governor Emefiele, entrepreneurship is a key item. He received his doctorate in agripreneurship today. The youth, both those who are between 18 and 35, have huge opportunities to tap into our various products. And that's the reason why Governor Emefiele established the National Microfinance Bank. As it continues to scale to 774 branches, I encourage all our youths to go to these branches and access any of the products. You don't need to know anybody. It's been democratized. You just go in, you apply, and you can get any of the interventions. AXMIS, uncollateralized, you don't need to know anybody. There's also the Sci-Fi. There's the National Youth Investment Fund, the one we collaborate with the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So our youths have a place for them to be able to get, either funding or a platform for them to be able to unleash our skills.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, as part of its mandate to ensure price and monetary stability, has had to intervene in the agricultural sector in order to diversify the country's economy and mitigate the impact of the global shock arising from volatility of the price of the crude oil.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is from the CBN. Does the agricultural value chain offer the prospect for financial prosperity and wealth creation in our society today? What do you think? We spoke to a few people on this. Let's listen to them.
Yes, money can be made in agriculture.
To make money in agriculture, even though it is capital oriented, but notwithstanding, you can make money. It now depends on what you are looking at in agriculture, depending on the area you want to go. Maybe farming, maybe poultry, maybe crop production, depending on the areas you want to go.
We have arable land. If we go back to agriculture, the days of granite pyramid, the grade of timber, money will come, and you will make money from agriculture.
Yes, I believe money can be made through agricultural business. This is Nigeria. Mostly people don't take agriculture seriously, and you see that people made a lot through agricultural means.
Those days when we haven't come to city, when we were in villages, so we know what our parents did with agriculture. They used that through agriculture to train us in schools and so many other things. We follow them to farm and help them to make big cassava and all the rest of things. So I guess if we still continue with that aspect, we'll be able to make it.
Why not? Agriculture is one of the lucrative business in Nigeria, even let me say in all over the world. Before our forefathers, what they practice, as they make it, they use it to train us, go to school. It was when we grew up now. Majority of people are running to Lagos, doing all this type of business, but agriculture is the best thing you can make money off.
100% yes. I should buy like this poultry, piggery, fish, snail, rabbits, and everything. You can get money. Just that the only problem there is the swine fever and the bird flu that is happening now. But all of that things, there's money there. Because that's what I really do. That's what I do. So I know the amount of money that comes into agriculture.
Yeah, money can be made from agriculture. Yeah, because I remember we were in school and there's this debate that which one do you support, agriculture or being a teacher? Then I always go by agriculture because I know if I don't eat, it's someone that has to put food on my table, or someone has to work for that food to come to my table. So I know a lot of effort has to be put into agriculture, and I notice if there is no food, man, how are we going to survive?
And it's possible when we have enough financial finance in sucking into that areas. That is that. But money cannot be made when there is no money. Money cannot be made in agriculture when there is no money.
So I don't really know how it would be, but agriculture normally needs investments. So without money, you cannot invest. You understand? So if there's a money, you can easily make money through agriculture.
To be to be a farmer is good. It's a good encouragement to the country, because like what we are importing today, if they didn't encourage themselves from an early age, how can we see all those food?
Thanks for staying tuned. In the last decade, many African countries have made significant progress towards establishing a strong and vibrant private seed sector serving smallholder and commercial farmers despite some challenges. Ms. Emesiri Agbeyi, partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers PwC, spoke to us earlier on the seed industry in Nigeria.
The seed industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide. Now, how developed is this industry in Nigeria?
I don't think it's as developed as we would want. And I think it's very obvious just from the yields per hectare that we see in the agri industry. Right now in Nigeria, we estimate that the seed industry is worth about 770 billion naira, which is just shy of a zillion. And it remains largely underdeveloped given the small size of local seed production, which is valued at about a third of the amount. Annual demand for seeds, however, continue to rise. But unfortunately, we don't have as much production capacity in Nigeria. In the past, we've also seen that the public sector has been very involved in this, with the federal government trying to boost this through research and having, agencies that are invested, including the National Agricultural Seed Council, invested in breeding and producing different agricultural seed varieties. And this was prior to 2000, the year 2000. And since 2000, we've had quite an influx of private participants into the sector. According to the Access to Seed Foundations, which is a global body that aims to bridge the gap that we have between the industry and local seed production, it does say that the private sector now contributes about 13% of the variety releases in Nigeria, while the public sector continues to account for the remaining 87%.
So how important is the seed industry to actualizing the self-sufficiency drive of the government that the CBN has been championing?
Yeah, so the seed industry really plays an integral role. It's the first side of the value chain because that's where you get your inputs from before you then begin to think of planting, harvesting, processing, and then eventually selling off to the wider market. If we don't have very high resistant, disease resistant seeds or high variety type seeds, then the likelihood that you would increase production is really very low. And then that begins to tell you how it goes further down the chain up to demand, being that that is the beginning. So once the beginning fails, very obviously, the end is going to be disastrous. And so as part of the strategic plan between 2020 and 2021, the National Agricultural Seeds Council is planning on increasing the availability of improved farming seeds, yeah, and reducing adulterated seeds and raising farmer adoption of improved seeds by 40%. Now, one of the critical things that is important in that part of the value chain is really enlightenment and education, because what we're competing against is a well-developed institution that's already invested heavily through research and development to get the best of both worlds.
All right, finally, before I let you go, and this is very close to my heart because I remember growing up, there were certain crops that I personally could identify and that I had eaten. Then becoming an adult now, those things are no longer available. How can the seed industry help? I actually do not have the English name for some of them that I can remember, but there are varieties of beans. You wanted to see agbalumo? Okay. There are varieties of beans. I remember there was one particular beans, then a variety that it has to be cooked and cooked and cooked for a long period of time. But the outcome, usually it usually comes out sumptuous. And there was this other sweet fruit, one red berry-like fruit. In Yoruba, it is called agbayin. I don't know the English name, and I have never seen it again. That fruit, that berry, back then was sweeter than honey. Growing up now, I couldn't find it. There are so many other seeds and fruits and vegetables that we seem to have lost. Can they be recovered?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. That requires a lot of research. I can't give the exact answers, but I do know that to a very large extent, we must not ignore the fact that there is climate change. And as we're also having deforestation, there's a lot more reason now to move from rural to urban areas. There's breaking down of trees. This is affecting the ecosystem, whether we like it or not. And that possibly may be causing some of our crops to go extinct. Now, it's also deplorable that we don't even know some of the names of these crops, like the ones that you've mentioned. Only God knows whether some of it even have health benefits.
Exactly.
And we've very quickly lost those crops. And now we're looking for varieties of wheat from other jurisdictions that may not necessarily help us. So at the end of the day, we must recognize that our own genes are very special and unique. As Black people, we have crops in our country, in our continent, that we must grow and harness, and we must research and develop. Most of the countries that are top now in terms of capital is because of the research and development that they've invested in. When I look at countries like the US, that is attracting big brands like Tesla and creating Silicon Valleys for tech companies to come in there, what is driving that is because of research and development and some of the incentives as well that is causing those organizations or those brands to run after those jurisdictions. The same must be said for Nigeria. If we're going to get to the stage where we will have certain crops unique to our environment, where we could have even had comparative advantage, because that berry now, I don't know that any other country around us has it. Cocoa, for instance, a lot of countries are competing with us for cocoa. We've lost our spot in cocoa. We're no longer one of the top producers because we started running after oil and are now very well at the bottom of top producers. Now, okay, we accept that. But what about other products that are not produced in massive content and probably have those benefits. In fact, let me just add to this. I don't know how true it is, but I hear that in some jurisdictions, it is believed that when you eat yam flour, you will produce twins. And that there is even a village, I don't know the name of her now, where we have a research center that has been developed to just investigate into that theory. I'm sure that guy has run out of funds by now. But in that place, when you look at the documentary in that village, they always have twins. They are eating ewedu, a lot of yam. Exactly. Research and development is what is needed now to bridge that gap where we say, is it really true? Is it a myth? Why can't we have more of that investment? And why can't we realize that that investment is needed in agriculture, which is a staple need for any organization to go past into the industrial age, and from the industrial age, go into the tech age? We're probably not ripe for all the Teslas of this world, but we are ripe and sure to make sure that food production is steady, and we make sure that food production reaches the corners of every single part of this country. And the way we can do it is build capacity, invest in the right areas, change all our public sector spaces, and make sure that we are connecting with the private sector and make projects in the agri space bankable for the private sector to come in and thrive.
So on that motivational note, we'll wrap it up for today. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Yeah.
That's all from the CBN this week. Do log on to the website of the Central Bank of Nigeria using www.cbn.gov.ng to find out about the people-oriented initiatives of the Apex Bank. You can also talk to any of the participating financial institutions on how to take part and benefit from the various initiatives. Call the CBN Contact Center using the phone line below for your valid complaints. Remember, local rates may apply. Send in your comments and contributions to the email address fromthecbn@gmail.com and follow us on the social media for updates and uploaded episodes of the program. I am William Dada. Stay safe and